Today's video is inspired by this stylish kimono dress top. It is so elegant as you see it in many different colors and fabrics. So guys, you are most welcome. Just feel at home, subscribe if you are new, and let us start the video. So this is it, the fabric that I'm going to use. I'm using Ankara, but you can use any that you want, and it is folded into two according to the quarter of the hip measurement plus 5 to 6 inches. So from the shoulder line on top here, I went down by 8 inches for the chest line, and then 16.5 inches for the waistline. Then from there I just added about 8 inches for the hip line, and the other is the full length. So starting off at the shoulder line, guys, usually I use about 8 inches, but today, since this is kimono, I added about 7 inches. So you can even add 6 or 5. So I added 7 and I marked the shoulder line there. So from that mark, I went down by 1.5 inches. Usually we go down by 1 inch for the shoulder slant, but for this one, I'm going down by 1.5 inches. So after there, I marked the neckline width. This is a boat neckline, so I've used 5 inches. So from the 5 inches, I drew this line as you see up to the 1.5 inch shoulder slant, and I added 1/2 inch for the joining allowance at the shoulder. So the neck depth I used about 3 inches, guys. Sorry I didn't record that. So remember here at the shoulder line I have about 15 inches. I'm going to mark the same along the chest line, and I marked the 15 inches. So from this 1.5 inch shoulder slant, I'm going down by 8 inches, and I connect a line like this. That is going to be the sleeve opening there. So from there I moved in by just 1/2 inch just to slant out my sleeve opening. It is not all that straight, it is a little bit slanted like that. So after there I divided the waist measurement by 4, and I added just sewing allowance and ease allowance because this top won't have any zipper allowances, so it needs ease allowance. So it is at 11 inches, and I'm just going to curve from the sleeve opening down to the waistline just like this. So from there I moved to the hip line, and I divided the hip measurement by 4, and I also added 1 inch ease allowance and also 1 inch for for sewing allowance. So if you want zipper at the back, you will add it. So guys, the front and the back are just going to be the same. So after cutting this front piece, I'm just going to cut the back piece. So make sure you connect your points very properly. And I realized from here that hip connection from the waistline to the hip was a little bit, too much, but I corrected it at the sewing machine. So guys, whatever we have at the hip line, I'm just going to add 5 inches at the hemline and then connect to the hip line. So at the hemline, I have hip measurement divided by 4 plus 5 inches. You can even add a little bit, maybe 6 or 7, but 5 is very okay. You can even reduce it. So it is a little bit a line there, and then I connect my points and I cut it out just as you see, and I'm going to use this piece to cut out the back piece. They are just the same, exactly, everything is just the same. So from the shoulder line on top here, leaving along the joining allowance at the shoulder, I went down by about 19 inches, and I marked where the front slit opening will stop. So at this point I have my front and back pieces together just the same as you see, and I just want to shape the hemline. So along the hemline here, from down I just marked 1 inch from down going up at the side. You can even do 1.5 inches like that, and I just curved it back into the middle, towards the middle of this hemline, and then I just cut it out. So these are my 2 pieces. So at this point I decide to split the front into 2, not the entire front. You remember where we marked where the slit opening will stop? There, just a little bit below the waistline, or even at the waistline, wherever you want it is where you put it. So that is it. So these are my 2 pieces, front and back. Now we can move on. So I went ahead and cut out 2 facings. I just duplicated this waist, the neckline, and I cut this piece. It is 3.5 inches in length. Is it length or width? You know what I mean. So guys, when it comes to sewing, I'll just bring my facings, pin it right sides facing the main fabric, and pin it down, and I'll sew by 1/2 inch along the neckline for both front and back, and this is what I got. So after, make sure you do small cuts, you notch out small cuts, so that when you flip the facing inside, it just sits nicely. So guys, for the slit opening, I cut out a long piece of fabric that is going to finish neatly this slit. So it is about 2.5 inches in width. 1/2 inch is the sewing allowance. It is not on fold. So I'll just place it like this from the hemline and sew by 1/2 inch, going round all around this slit. So at the top there, guys, it's sometimes a little bit tricky, especially if it's your first time, but guys, it is doable. You will figure it out. So I'll sew that, and after that I'll be able to finish up the shoulder. I'll join the front to the back along the shoulder line, and I'll show you what next. So the slit is done like this. I've even finished ironing it so that it lies inside very well. If you have hemming gum, you can even use that, so that facing of the slit, lies in like inside very well. So the shoulder is also finished, as you see. And guys, now we have to finish up these sleeves, or the sleeve opening. So guys, I got this entire measurement of this should I say sleeve? Yes, it is sleeve opening. So after getting it all together at once, I cut out 2 pieces. They are here. Each piece is 4 inches in width, and I'll be attaching it to the dress top. So I'll fold it into 2 like this, so that now I have 2 inches. 1/2 inch is sewing allowance. I will remain with just 1.5 inches. So what I'm going to do is I'll take my dress top, the inside part of the dress top, and join this piece of fabric. Remember, it is on its right side, and sew by 1/2 inch, and then I'll flip it onto the right side of the dress top. So it will be outside on top like this at the right side. So this is it after sewing, guys. So now I'm just going to flip it like this, so that it is kind of covering or kind of folded like this. So I will tuck at the middle there at the shoulder line, then I'll top stitch on top there, and then after I will take it right sides facing each other and join the sides, finish the hemline, and the dress top is done. So this is the outcome. This is how it looks like. I just tucked there so that it does not move. Took in the sides. That is the neckline. That is the other sleeve opening, the kimono thingy. And guys, that is the slit as we've already seen. Hem finished, and that is how the dress looks like from the front. It is beautiful, I can assure you. And if you want to buy that, the neckline, you can just make your facing come on top, not inside, and then you finish it up nicely, stylish way. And this is the back, guys, and that is it for today. That was so simple. You can make yours, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll be seeing you soon.